guys.
Sarah.
Sarah, pleasant surprise.
I honestly, if it weren't for Linda going, "Are you going tomorrow?" And I was like, "Fuck, what's tomorrow?" And then I was like, "Back to basics of words, I'm going."
Aw.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm gonna, in typical fashion for me, I'm gonna blurt. Okay, before we start, and you three are in my good graces today. I want you to know that. You froze, Sarah.
I know. I just saw that.
Yeah, and what a face it was.
I know it was. It was like I was like pissed or whatever. Hi, Vern. It's so good to have you here.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Oh, you've never met, right?
No, it's
This
okay.
was a piece of why I ever wanted everybody to come, to get to, so Vern and everybody else could get to know each other before the retreat. Okay, so I'm going to start with that. I'm fucking mad this morning.
Mm.
I am almost 80 years old. I have no idea how long I'm going to be alive. And fucking people are the measure of how much they believe that they can get from learning emergence is obviously not enough. And it isn't, nobody's getting punished. You're hearing this, it's on this thing, but I thank you, three of you, for coming because whatever. So, Vern, it's obvious because you've not been doing this that long, right? Jeremy, I thank you because you're the most recent person to join the community. And Sarah, I just thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So this is roughly, now that I got that out of the way, I never want anybody to go, is he mad at me? Because you're intuitive and you'll know what the fuck is wrong with Steve. And I don't want to have that. That is not okay with me. Anyway, so the three of us, being Sam, Maria, and I, are going to each teach an hour. The format of the hour is going to be at the beginning of the hour. You'll probably have to use your phones or whatever because I don't think you brought paper. I should have slid something. At the beginning of the hour, look at Vern. Oh, fucking awesome. Jesus Christ. Oh, Sarah. Okay, look at Jeremy feeling like the
he's got
fucking
nothing.
disruptive student over there as usual.
It's
Don't
okay.
you dare take that shit on, Jeremy.
Oh, I'm
You're
not. I'm
you
not.
are here in the scene with us. You're here. Okay. When Maria and Sam and I each start our hour, we're going to ask you to. We're going to tell you the topic. Three topics today. We're going to tell you the topic, and we're gonna ask you to write down three questions you have about this topic. At the end of that hour, toward maybe the last 5 minutes, you're going to be asked did you get any answers for those questions? That is it. You're not getting tested. This is to help us to know how to better teach. Because all three of us could talk for like 9,000 hours about any topic on emergence and not realize that we're already drowning Jeremy. Sarah, are you gonna puke out 10,000
No,
thoughts?
no. I was curious. I know, Jeremy, you might be scene. I might be story. Vern, what are you potentially?
Potentially story scene.
Story scene. Okay. That'll be
That's
interesting to see.
that's interesting to see. This is good. Excellent. That was good, Sarah. That was good. I dreamt last night about what the next retreat is going to be about. And the next retreat is going to be about self-examination.
Mm.
Hmm.
Exactly what you just said, Sarah. Each of us determining for ourselves, what am I?
But I also thought it would be interesting when we finish how we each share what we learned differently.
Okay, good.
Hmm.
So, with that said, Maria, you're up.
I'm up.
You're up.
The three of you should know that this is like me sitting in a gauntlet, having Steve and Sam here.
Yeah, you
There's
don't
some
sit in a gauntlet, you run through it.
whatever. I feel like I'm fucking sitting in it.
I don't know why. I feel nervous too for some reason. So if you're nervous, I'm with you.
Oh yeah, the anxiety is Vern knows me in a teaching way separate of this. So this will be interesting for you, Vern, because it's like I don't know what we'll see what I'll be, but what I've been in my mind is not who you see. So something Steve and I were talking about on Thursday was about the am I doing it right as a therapist thing came up.
Oh, yes.
And oh Athena, hello.
Hey, I just wasn't sure if it was the same Zoom link.
It is, my dear.
Steve,
Hello.
what's the question she should be writing down or the things she should be writing down?
Okay, just a minute. Athena, you know your video's off?
Uh, well, no, it's on. I don't know why it's doing that. That's off?
Your camera covered?
There
There
it
you
is.
go.
No,
Good
my camera
morning,
was not covered. Good
Athena,
morning.
Vern, Athena.
Hi, Vern.
Oh yeah.
Athena.
Okay, so you should catch up. Sam, Maria, and I are each teaching an hour. Maria's beginning her hour. She's going to tell you all the topic that she's going to teach, and you need to then write down 3 questions that you have about that topic. And toward the end of the hour, we'll check back in with you to see if you got any answers. Okay, Maria?
I'll do the story first. Gist, the topic first. I realized I was going the other way before. Mine's about the ability or inability to let go of what we think we already know about something when we're learning.
Ah,
So watching my girls learn something, like did everybody is this true? I don't know if anyone knows this, that Q is never without you, the letters?
in English? Yes.
Yeah. I did not know that. My 4-year-olds taught me that like 2 months ago. Now, if I looked at Q letter words that start with Q, I would say, okay, maybe I'd see a pattern, but I never even thought they came home, Mama, it's their best friend. They're never without each other. I said, oh shit.
Uh, Okay, now pause, Maria, and let them write down 3 questions. And
Okay, yes.
say the topic again.
So yeah, let's see. The ability or inability to let go of what we think we already know
There you go.
when we're learning something.
The Q thing's also not true.
It's not true? What words? Well, now I'm gonna go
Okay,
down to chat
okay.
GPT
Just pause. Just pause.
rabbit hole.
Here, so just pause.
No, I
Don't
just
go
want
there.
the
Don't
title
go.
again.
Let's do this during the hour, okay?
Title
No
again.
questions. Sarah, you're not allowed to talk. You're.
I just want the title again.
Oh,
Okay, I'll say it. The inability or ability to let go of whatever we think we know when we're learning something. Whatever we think we already know. So they're writing down 3 questions that they have about this topic, Steve?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
It could be a question about themselves. To what degree do I have trouble letting go? It could be, what situations do I have trouble letting go?
I got so caught up with the ability or inability to let go of whatever we think we already know. Was there another part, like when faced with a question or when learning,
Nope,
or it's just
nope.
that?
When learning. Yeah,
Learning
when learning.
But this could be anything. It could be when you're having an argument with
Oh
with
yeah.
with Hitler Jr.
when I think I know Gene and he's mad, or I think I know he's mad about something. I'm not learning about him in that moment if I'm
Okay.
not learning him.
Yeah. So, and keep in mind, obviously, this topic, the day is about what makes it difficult to learn emergence.
Hmm.
So that's the common thread for the three of us. Okay. So I wrote down 3 too, Maria, as I should.
Same.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, whenever you're ready, Maria.
My handy dandy. Oh, can I share, Steve? My screen?
Oh, geez. Yes, ma'am. Let me turn it on. You can.
Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yes.
I had 2 discoveries about the word this morning in the shower. And I'm curious if anybody, just by what you see here, nothing beyond what you see, if anything comes to mind for anybody.
L
The
equals
word.
A. Oh, sorry. Are we raising hands?
What'd you say, Sarah?
Are we raising hands?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
What'd you say?
Go on, Sam.
What did you say?
L equals ARN.
L equals ARN?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
I never saw the word
Oh,
earn is there. I
And
never
I know
saw that.
I never saw
I
earn
never saw
either.
that. I've never seen that before.
What
Yeah.
does even earn mean?
Hmm.
Earn, like
Like to
earn it,
earn, like you earn
like you
something.
earn it.
You
like
work
you
for
work for it.
something
Yes,
and
there's
get it.
actually a
You're
word
working
for
for
it.
it.
No,
Yeah.
you know why? I don't know if it's everybody else's screen, but like the part of the E is like not there. So it just looks like an equal sign to me, literally.
Oh shit. Is
Oh,
No,
that
no, no.
you might
I
have
everybody
it
see.
different.
else's?
I can see the whole thing,
Okay.
and I see
Okay,
the
that's
word
why
ear, and
Well,
that word ear to me is all about listening.
yes, Athena. I saw ear, I saw earn.
Yep.
Then I went, so
And then I saw
Hmm.
leer.
yeah, Lear.
do you have a meaning for leer?
Well, leer is, leering is something that is not necessarily a positive thing, right? And to me, that's like because you have a prejudice or you have a preconceived notion, so you're leering at
Ah,
something. And so
ah.
so when you leer, Leer rather, then it's about a preconceived notion. So then there's the earn, working your way to learn, and then yeah, so an ear, listening, and there's just so much there.
Do you know that actually in Spanish, leer means to learn?
Leod, yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, to read, but
Okay,
Leer means to read in French as well, but
pause.
it's spelled differently.
Everybody pause. There needs to be more awareness about the scene first people. This launching into stories, no criticism, but just be aware people are getting left behind.
Brian, what's happening for you? Because you know me in this sense, but not in a group. So what's happening for you as you learn in a group with me?
It feels hard to jump in.
Yeah, me and you just go.
Yeah. That's what I'm experiencing.
Is there something that you did see that you do want to share?
Oh, when everyone said what I saw, yeah, I mean, it's just cool. Cool conversation.
Excellent. That's great, Vern. That's something that instead of uniformity, because that's what a normal school does, is teaches you to be the same or to have the same ideas or to accept something without question, that you're seeing that people are having a similarity to you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
Vern,
you
when I
can
go
you
ahead.
also see, Vern, that Athena and Sarah being story first have no fucking problem leaping in?
Story first, mine first.
Yeah, the mind. Yeah.
Oh, I
No,
was,
Sarah, no, 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 because let Vern take us in. Remember, Sarah, Vern is new to all of this.
can you just clarify what is she, story or scene? I thought she was story and then scene.
We'll see about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
leave that, leave that. Yeah.
Okay.
This is a first approximation. I can say that if you get lost when a story is occurring like this, then it may be evidence for being seen first. I know you have stories in you, Vern. I know that. You and I have exchanged stories.
Hmm.
But it may be that in a learning situation, it may be that you're seen first. It's okay. But I'm sorry, Marie. Keep going.
Vern, I've been suffering pretty badly the past few weeks, especially the past 24 hours. And when I thought about coming on here, a good majority of what I thought about was the feeling that you shared about how cool this is and the experience of learning together and what Athena was saying about a different word and how the discoveries just kind of unfold in the meaning of what that is when we're all together. And these people are some of like the most important people in my life that are here also. So that adds something, right? That's like the learning to me is exponential when that meaning is there, you know? So I had like such a safety of coming and doing this like this. Um,
Yeah.
so now I'm wondering for you, Vern, is there something in the difficulty learning in a group? Is there anything there? Because when you're with me, we're like, we can't stop. 15 minutes goes by and I'm like, shit.
I think it's just I have not been in this environment um, for a long time,
Mhm.
and so yeah, just learning how to have a voice in this. And also, part of my learning is I don't always have to have a voice in it. Sometimes sitting back and listening,
Mm.
I learned a lot. Um,
Mm.
yeah. So, and I did feel like it was a lot going on.
Mhm.
Can you raise your hand next time you feel that?
Sure.
Can you raise two hands? That will indicate that particular thing that you're feeling, and not just that you want to talk, but double up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Can I add that I think that it would be a good idea for people to who are having a hard time and you're noticing you're having a hard time to speak up, to put your hands up. But in the case of Sarah and Athena, I don't want to kill your enthusiasm,
We'll slow down. Yeah, we can slow
but
down.
but it may be a big deal for you to put your hands up this way when you're struggling to not speak up,
Mm. Mm.
because
Okay.
both things can discourage learning. So this way, when you're struggling to speak up, you have something to say, and this way, when you're struggling to not speak up.
Mm.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt a real crack of even of emotion when Vern talked the first time. I saw a story about myself. I felt when she said I saw I saw everything, but then everyone was saying the stuff I saw, and I thought about just all the millions of moments in my life where I saw things and I couldn't speak because I didn't for millions of reasons. And graduate school came to mind. I just didn't speak for the first year. I felt afraid. I didn't but yeah, and then I've just had that experience so many times of just I see things, I don't say anything, and then other people are just saying the shit I see, and I'm just like, I saw that. I saw that. And yeah, just seeing is so different than speaking. It's just so yeah,
Mm.
there's a whole so I felt really like could just start crying. I don't even know why really. So yeah, that was coming for me.
And for me, it was like, you know how in double dutch you have to jump in?
Yeah.
I felt like I
Yeah.
wasn't quite sure how to jump in.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I thought a lot about too about how I've been in this for so long and I just really know what's expected of me in this setting. Like it's very clear and I try to imagine what it's like to be here the first time and like on the fly, how would I figure out what the hell is expected of me?
Mm.
It's pretty tough.
Mhm. Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, of course.
So consider the topic, the ability or inability to let go of what you know. Now realize that right now we're looking at it as the ability or inability to know how to participate in a classroom, whether to hold back, whether to speak up, whether to raise your hand or just speak. Already we're into something which is a difficulty for all of us,
Mhm.
including me. I keep thinking I'm trampling Maria's hour.
Yeah, it's interesting because I I often have a lot of anxiety when I get on these groups. And Snyder, when you said the thing about what's expected of me, like there's a more clear expectation of me and my position and my role in this group. And I have had less anxiety than I normally have in the grand rounds, in the EU, even in our fucking dean meetings. There's something, and then when you speak, Steve, I'm like, shit, I don't know, like, should I go with what he's saying now? Then the expectation changes. And I'm like, I have a little bit more anxiety. Um, but Jeremy, I've been hovering. I'm a blimp over you. What's happening? If you wanna share.
Yeah, I when you first started writing that, I went down a rabbit hole when I saw Lear. I immediately went into Shakespeare.
King Lear.
I went into King Lear's daughter's named Cordelia. I had a cat named Cordelia. So I went
Wow.
whole
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't
fucking
know
this whole rabbit hole um immediately, and I was thinking about how the tendency to do that can affect my ability to learn. Because when I'm
Ah,
doing that, I'm not hearing, I've kind of heard what everybody was saying for sure, but I'm also in this other thing and it went to this other place. Yeah, it was just interesting to see that.
Is it is it like rapidly attaching associated scenes?
Uh, well, yeah, after I thought about King Lear, then scenes dropped in. I was a scene with the cat that I had,
Wow.
and then a scene from this production that I saw. This actor, I could see a scene he was playing out as King Lear. And then I was able to see that I was going down this rabbit hole and I came back to the group.
Mm.
It happened really quickly. It's like 20 seconds, all this stuff.
What does Lear mean in that context?
King Lear, there's a play by Shakespeare called King Lear, Lear. So
What's
immediately,
like the what's like the gist? Is there like is it like what is he like?
he's this old, like crotchety king, and it's really about his like relationship with his daughters. Uh,
Wow.
yeah. And I named my cat Cordelia is one of his daughters. Like she's like the main daughter in the story.
So now I'm wondering if that's a thing for you, the inability to let go to learn, where you attach to the scenes. You leave and you're attached to the scenes. I do something so similar sometimes. If I'm not sharing in the EU group, I'm attaching to the thing that I'm learning in my mind separate of the group, which is like it's like trying to run on two treadmills at the same time, it feels like. Um,
Well, in the first thing I saw, like when I saw Sam today, immediately the hat. Vern, it's the tree. I know that tree very well behind
that.
her.
Yeah, I do.
So, yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing, Maria. I was like, holy shit, how? Because yeah, it was an aha. I was like, man, how much of my tendency to do this gets in the way of me learning?
mm, mm.
you know, Jeremy, I'm welling up with tears.
Mm,
I
mm,
always worry that there won't be enough for people when I start a group. This is the first time that I'm teaching with Maria and Sam, which is sharing this. I am so grateful. But this idea that we're already seeing patterns about preventing our learning, I'm floored at how the pattern you just described, Jeremy, is the pattern in a different with a different face of Sarah.
Mm,
Sarah's mind constantly, goes through 10,000 ideas like that. You're going through 10,000 scenes.
yeah.
But in both cases, there's very little room left to actually take in the one or two things that are being taught. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw Jeremy, Jeremy saw my hat, I went immediately to the story. Like, Jeremy's in his car, he probably is at the gym. Like, he's in the gym parking lot. I wonder if his phone overheats when it's like charging on the car. This is all, and then but then what's crazy is like if I'm not really paying attention to my mind, I'll just think that that's all true. Like
Uh,
that I know it. And
oh,
there's no space to learn anything about Jeremy's existence because I already made up the whole thing.
yes, yes,
And I
yes.
did the same thing when I saw Vern. I'm like, I know that tree is that used to be in the office. Is she in the office still? I'm just cooking up stories. And I'm not in the scene at all. I'm not in the scene at all. Sarah knows what I'm talking about.
Sarah?
But I was going to say the socialization factor too impacts it, where like you came up with a story about Jeremy and you ran with it in your head. And I would be like, I want to ask, like, where are you? Because I don't have any idea. I didn't come up with a story about the gym, but then I don't want to be like nosy. Like,
Yeah, so the
so
socialization, but that urge is nice, Sarah. I didn't even have that urge. I like that urge. Like I want to ask now, Jeremy, where are you?
Mm.
And it made me want to ask you the fact that you know enough patterns about like me, like you're pretty accurate. Your story is pretty accurate. I'm not
Yeah,
at the,
but that's
but I literally just left the gym, and my curiosity is, I know you realize that a lot of times your stories are accurate. Does that make you do it even more?
Mm.
yes, well, it's one of the answers to the question, which is why, I didn't have it before, but Maria's question, why do we have a trouble letting go? It's like, well, my stories are right, and I get a lot of good feedback. People feel like I understand them because I make up the right story about them. And I
Mm.
get stuck in a loop where it's like I get this good feedback, and it feels like I'm Sherlock Holmes or whatever with this bullshit.
Mm.
Because I did just leave, literally just left the gym, and if I had less time, if I didn't have time to drive home, I would have been sitting in the gym parking lot.
Yeah.
well,
But
and
still,
then
even though that, go ahead, Sarah, sorry.
no, you're good. I
Oh,
was
I
just
was just gonna say, oh no, go ahead. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Okay, stop. Everybody stop for a second. Everybody pause. Hold on. Hold on.
Chronic.
Athena and
Uh,
Vern,
Yes.
I'm curious what's happening for the two of you. There's energy in the Zoom screen already, and I can feel the difference. So what's happening?
Well, for me, I'm just loving on people that I have known for years, and to be on this with Sam, and Jeremy, and hearing Jeremy, you know, recognize a pattern. I'm just sitting here like this is cool. This is so cool.
Mm.
You know, yeah. So that's what's going on. I'm just a lot of love and
mm,
yeah, just excitement.
Mm.
mhm. Oh,
So I'm curious if any of your
Hold on, Steve.
yeah, Athena, I'm locked on Athena still.
I asked
okay.
Athena to speak, and she was looked like she was in an almost share space.
And no, I mean, I feel so connected to everyone right now.
Mm.
So when Jeremy started talking about the rabbit hole, like that's what I had written about, like almost all three things relate to
Wow.
how I do that. So when Jeremy was speaking, I got really emotional too. Um, and I realized that he has a different flavor of what I have because he's seen first.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy, your body first.
Mhm.
And I was just feeling that, right? That the similarities and the differences because of that. And how our situations are not unique to us, right? Like as I was writing this, I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like, there was a piece of me
Wow.
going, this is a problem, right?
Mm.
Instead of this is who I am and this is what happens.
Wow.
So when Jeremy and Sam and Sarah, I just realized, oh my gosh, this is like now my flavor is a little bit different as to why I go off on tangents, but I also do that, Jeremy. So I feel what you're saying. And then Sam started going off into the story. I don't think I'm as strong with it's more curiosity.
Hmm.
And um, in my life, there are certain people that I when I first see them, I don't, with no reason whatsoever, like I have this strong, I don't know, it's like it's not a desire to connect. I feel a connection, but I don't know why. And the minute I saw Vern, I was so distracted because I felt so connected to her, and I don't know this person. Like there was something that just pulled me to you.
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
and then all these ideas started going in my head, but the point was as to why. But it doesn't matter. Like I just felt so connected to Vern, and I just became immediately curious. I wanted to know everything about her, so I started watching and observing. Is she mind first? Is she body first?
Mhm.
Is she scene first? Is she story first? Like I started going into this, and I just had this deep curiosity.
Mm.
And it's like, it's like, God, I want her phone number.
Uh,
And I don't have that reaction very often,
mm.
that deep curiosity about someone. So I just wanted to express that. Hello, Vern. Welcome. I'm
Hello.
really excited you're here.
I'm excited to be here too. Thank you so much.
And then what went through my mind was, there's another woman of color, damn it.
Wow.
That was the first
Wow.
thing that hit me. Like when I saw the name Vern, I had heard a little bit about a new person, and I know a little bit, like I remember a little bit of who you are. But the first thing that flashed was like, damn. And I didn't even know that was in my space. I know that I had an awareness that I was the only woman of color in the group,
Mm.
but I didn't realize how deep that went or how emotional that was until I saw you, Vern.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm.
And when I heard your name, I was hoping that you're a woman of color because I couldn't see your face initially.
Yeah,
And I
it
was
was
like,
a mystery.
I think so.
Yeah, so Steve, this is making me piggyback on what me and you were talking about on Thursday about a specific client, but um can't let go into a scene because you feel so unsafe to leave and go like explore that. And the level of safety here right now feels so um it just feels strong and present that I'm like that. So the inability to learn, depending on how safe you really feel in whatever kind of context,
Mhm.
right? Where yeah, safe to be a student, safe to be a teacher are like, I mean, I
Mm.
feel so safe right now. So
Mm.
there's something where it's like I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna say next. But there's something where like immediately, Vern, when me and you first met, we didn't have that right away.
No, we
I
didn't.
said we're not safe yet, Vern, 25 minutes in, right? And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but we gotta fix this shit because neither of us are gonna learn anything, right? And then
Right.
we talked about layers, outer layer. Oh, we could just talk like this and be like this. And that changed everything, right? Yeah, so that's kind of what's in my mind right now about feeling safe. Um,
So I want to just add a little bit to what Maria said as far as the scene, the context.
mm,
We spoke about a client who can't picture,
mm.
has
Mm.
aphantasia.
I have a client like that too.
This is a mystery to me that bothers the heck out of me.
I think
Since
I agree.
right, but this is a mystery that really bothers me, since an emergence is visual,
Hmm.
right? And in my um, theories, the first book doesn't say it, but it infers it, that in order to have an emergence, you have to have all four kinds of information present in the same moment, and they kind of come out as the baked cake.
Mm,
And that when I speak about the five senses, I speak about four of them, and that vision is an emergent property of having all four of the other senses together at the same time. The experience of being able to walk into a scene. And
mm,
in that scene, you can smell, you can taste, you can touch, you can hear. So this mystery And as Marie and I spoke, I asked the question. She grew up in a house where there was a lot of fighting, this woman. It's since resolved itself quite a while ago, but in her early childhood, bad.
Mm,
Biological father is an awful human being who is one of the cruelest people I have ever met in my life. And and so I wondered if her being so unsafe means that she's hyper vigilant, which is what people come out of a painful childhood like that with, and she's so hyper vigilant that she keeps moving and doesn't land long enough to picture anything.
mm,
Now it's just a question,
mm,
but the question seems to have some relevance today. For instance, to you, Jeremy, where you're not landing in this scene
mm,
because in some sense you're hyper vigilant over your own mind. I don't know how that makes sense or anything, but there's so much movement, and Athena, you and Sarah are also similar, where you're hyper vigilant of your own mind and the ideas that are passing through it. And so this, what's emerging in this group about you have to be safe enough to learn.
yeah.
Then what's the other side of that is the being unsafe, and this really is the heart and soul of emergence, that we learn because we look for the opposites and we contrast and compare both sides.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot know each other without knowing each other opposites. And for instance, that is brilliant what is happening with Sarah right now, because she is speaking about something that none of us can see.
Mm-hmm.
The mind, the content of another person's mind is invisible. We can only indirectly know about it. That invisibility is important because in the world we act like we can know what's in another person's mind.
Mm,
Part of our reactions badly in a classroom is reacting and thinking we know what's in another person's mind, how they're going to react to us.
mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, what's in their mind is invisible to us, and without something like Sarah putting the backs of her hands up, we don't know that she's struggling to hold back and wants to share.
Mm-hmm.
But we then get evidence because it becomes visible.
Mm,
When you spoke and you talked about all the ideas that went through your mind, Maria's saying to you what's going on, Jeremy, because what's in your mind is invisible, as is what's in all of our minds. It's invisible to others, not necessarily to ourselves. So when you spoke, I got tons of pictures. I pictured all the things that you said, each change. I pictured a copy of King Lear and opening it and seeing like a biographical whatever of Shakespeare at the preface. Right. Then I thought, Jeremy knows more than me about King Lear. I can't remember shit about it. And I felt inferior for a moment
wow.
because Jeremy knew more than I did about King Lear.
Mm,
In that moment, I felt inhibited to say what I just said. Well, I don't want to say that I don't know anything about that. I'll look stupid.
mm,
Right.
mm,
But I am learning these things about all of us, even, deeply, because we're going slow enough, in some sense, for me. If things go too quickly for me, I don't learn either.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
So,
Steve, we talked about this other self that will often be in my mind as I'm talking to somebody or teaching or in therapy or something. And I've had it so little here, like a couple percent, maybe max. And even when you're saying like this other thing, I feel inferior, he knows more than me. I'm thinking of that when me and you were talking about the mind's attention and where it moves, even visually, but like the invisible thing, you're really attending to that, right? I'm inferior, he knows more than me. I'm like, oh shit, all the shit that we're missing about whatever is actually right here, unable to learn it when we're in this, whatever this thing is here, attending to this thing. And I have that so much in social interactions where I'm realizing the more unsafe I feel, the more I have this thing. If I feel, I'm noticing when I feel safe, I don't have this like outside self that's doesn't even feel like the observer. It feels like another one. That's like trying to say this the right way, do that the right way, which is like not learning at all. It's telling me like what it knows I should do rather than like, I don't know, just fall flat on your fucking face and say whatever you're gonna say, and I don't know. So I'm curious, maybe I don't know, maybe it'll be a surprise. Does anybody not feel safe right now? Like in this moment?
I have the utter opposite. I realized I have that voice too, Maria and Steve. And what I realized or what I noticed right now is that that's gone. Like there's no other voice. There's just me, my body here with you.
Hmm.
And I so enjoyed that right now. I want to hang on to this feeling so that I know when I'm not here.
Hmm.
I'm also experiencing the same thing. I mean, I tend not to have, well, I often don't have a lot of dialogue going on inside my head. And I really feel very, very present right now.
Hmm.
Um, and safe and uh and happy.
Yeah, Sarah, explode.
Um, well, I also have that voice, and I think it really inhibits my ability to be present and to
Hmm.
just learn and to not feel like I have to put on some sort of facade, like I know what I'm talking about. And one of the questions that I wrote, which I think you already answered actually, was how do I know if someone has the patience to teach me and
Oh
really
shit,
to
Sarah.
feel safe? Like,
Wow.
Oh shit.
yeah.
Steve, I think I have the same one.
Hmm.
The way that just hit me right now, Sarah, hit too hard for it to not be. Shit.
So I can say that I have, and I am guessing that I am most similar to Sam and Jeremy in that, and I'll say this is my own thought about me, is that my house was so unsafe growing up that while I love learning, probably more than anything, learning and teaching, because because in those times I am not alone.
Mm,
That's why I love it. It's not just the stuff, it's not the ideas.
mm,
In those moments, I am not alone. But even in this group, my head's going back and forth between 10,000 things in my head and being very, very present. And at
mm,
least I am here some of the time,
mm,
and I get things from that. But there's so many times where I withdraw and I'm realizing I'm reliving my childhood and it's not safe to actually just sit and learn.
mm,
Hmm.
mm,
Yeah, I have some lack of safety actually, but it's coming from not from this scene, but I have a split inside where it's like these people are visiting me. I told myself I'm going to try to get off at 12 to be with them, but then as soon as I got on here, I don't want to get off at 12. And so I'm like, and then I'm split between hurting them and hurting everyone here. This is my inference.
and you.
Yeah, well, that's That's a coming later.
Fucking
But
two.
no, but that split of someone will be mad at me or I'll hurt someone. I feel unsafe when I'm trapped in that I'm gonna hurt somebody. It feels like something bad's gonna happen to me.
Uh,
And so there is a lack of safety for me right now. But it's coming from something deep inside and some fear about just don't want anyone to be mad at me, and that's shit from my whole life. So but that's pulling me, that's like 25% of my consciousness. And then probably 25% is here, and then 50% is like Steve said, I do the same thing. I'm swirling in the implications of some of the ideas and really like something that's so remote from this, even what we're talking about, but is related, provoked by this.
mm,
That's me.
I also see how, in some sense, I am like Jeremy, but in an opposite way. We're talking about these things because Jeremy will report these things he knows. I will have 10,000 things I know occur in my mind, but then I have these urges to speak about them. And I've watched you, Jeremy, unless you're asked directly, often those 10,000 things that you know pass by unnoticed by anybody except you. They're invisible to us,
Mm,
you know? So I have the same idea of like, how many references to other things do I know? We have a similar broad swath of things we've read. But for me, it isn't so much about saying that I know the thing as it is connecting it to what I know about human nature. And for you, it seems to be more about saying the things you know. Now, this is just from the outside. I'm not saying anything about motive, or I can't read your mind, you know. But each of these things indicates something about our ability to learn. In my case, because I have so many things that I can connect to the patterns that I see here, I have trouble paying attention to what's happening right in the here and now and learning new things. I
it's
have
so funny, Steve, because that's me when you're teaching. What you're describing is me in an EU group. I'm like manic. My mind is fucking like I can't like. I have to do such effort to rein myself in. And it's interesting that it's flipped right now. This is not something I could have predicted feeling. I predicted a million other things. But
and it's very interesting. I'm somewhat envious, Maria, because there are times when I am like that, but they're never whole times. I have what Sam described as being distracted. Every single group, when I see somebody troubled or lost, I have that same fight between being here present and teaching and learning,
mhm,
and helping that person that I see that's struggling.
mhm,
There are no times where I lead a group, and now there's 40 years of being paid to lead groups, 40 years almost.
mm,
And I have no times where I don't have that ambivalence that you described, Sam,
mm,
between the needs of somebody else and my wanting to teach or learn.
mm. Sarah.
When you guys were talking, when you were talking about Steve, the ideas that go in and out of your head, and then Jeremy having the ideas but just not sharing them. I'm wondering what I wrote. Can I share what I wrote for one of my questions?
Yeah.
How do you grapple with the information that doesn't have a place yet? So
Mm,
it feels sort of like what Steve was describing, where when I'm learning new things, it feels like you're trying to figure out where do you place all these things on a puzzle.
mm,
So it becomes quickly overwhelming until it can set. Like,
mm, mm.
Yeah,
So
I can
this,
really relate to
go ahead.
that
Yes,
just
go ahead,
because
Ron.
so much like there's so many new things, you know. I'm reading the Emergence books and I'm talking at work with John and Jeremy and I'm meeting with Maria and there's so many things and I'm trying to uh sort out how things can, and there's so much to connect, you know. So I really appreciate you saying that, because um yeah, and I'm finding when I push, I learn less.
Mm.
You know, if I can have that coin up in the air, you know,
Mhm.
and just allow myself to organically learn
Mm.
and trust that I will learn, because I am learning.
Mm.
So
It
in
helps.
some way, that drawing, the behind you, that tapestry behind you, Vern,
Mm-hmm.
is it answers your question. It
Mm-hmm.
answers the question of how do you organize this? How do you put what you're taking in or not? Because one of the influences in emergence early is my reading about Descartes' experience of wanting to have a tree from which all knowledge has branches.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, a unified view from which you can learn. And if you were to look at the drawing behind you, you can't look at and take in the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Maria and I did this thing on Thursday the other day where I said, okay, here are two little creatures. They both have great meaning for me. This is my therapy bear. His name is Fuzzy Moto. And this is an owl given to me by a man in Athens years ago who said, you remind me of my father who was a professor. So, but if you look at these two things, you cannot look at both of them at the same time clearly. You can only look at Fuzzy or you can look at the owl
Mm.
clearly, but you cannot look at both. This is what emergence offers as an underpinning of learning. Everything we do is a two that are one. We can only look at one thing at a time, and what emerges is we see the sameness and the difference. And that's how we know. That's how we know each other. That's how we know any two things. Mind first, body first, scene first, story first. Every single thing in emergence comes back to the two that are one, like the owl and the bear. And knowing the nature of that, that we can only clearly see one at a time. That's our limitation as human beings. But
Mm.
we can know while we're looking that this thing I'm looking at has an opposite. And for me to know what one thing is, I must know the other. So I cannot know myself in isolation. I can only know myself in a comparison, in a relationship to another human being, and that I am different people with different people. So Maria started this well with the idea of the ability and the inability to let go of what you know. And that's the fundamental, most fundamental quality of all in what we do in emergence.
Mm.
So how about the questions you wrote and what you got, if that anything?
My first question was, what makes us think we know something to begin with? There was quite a few answers to that. I won't go into all of them, but I mean, for me personally, one of the answers was that I carry stories. I see the world through stories. And when I see Jeremy, I see a story, and that makes me think I know something. So that's one of the many answers I got to what makes us think we know something.
Mm,
Something that's occurring in the story for me, it makes me think I know something.
mm.
Another question I wrote was what makes me hold on? You know, that you mentioned letting go. In Emergence, you can't know one thing without knowing the opposite. So I can't know letting go unless I know holding on. So the
Mm,
question was, what makes me hold on?
mm,
I don't have an answer to that yet. Why do I want to hold on to the story I made up about Jeremy? What is it about that I don't immediately discard? Why am I not like Sarah, who actually just wants to know, where are you?
Mm,
I didn't have that experience. So there's a whole thing there for me.
mm.
No answer to the question, really.
I wanted to speak a little bit on my rabbit holes, and what I saw was um, I just wrote distractions, and that was it. Like, why do I get so distracted?
Mm.
And um, it's deeper than that. And I'm getting all these. I'm seeing that, like Sarah, my desire to know, that curiosity, my desire to understand. I'm getting better. Is so powerful that I get carried out of what's happening right now, and that prevents me from learning.
mm, mm.
That's a big part of it. And I've been accused of um, of actually hurting people, um, because my desire to know and understand and get the details. I'm not seeing the person in front of me. I'm not seeing their pain. I'm not seeing where they are. I'm not seeing their struggle. I'm just, it's, yeah. And it's just another layer of that.
Jeremy?
One of the questions I wrote was, how can I better learn to account for what I can't see?
Leave it to you to ask a question that profound. Oh my God.
Can you say it again?
How can I learn to better account for what I can't see?
Oh,
Oh,
God.
Emergence has an answer to that, but it's just theoretical.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm good with what I can see, but I often lose sight of the fact that there's so much that's not visible to me.
mm,
And I think I rely very, very, maybe almost exclusively at times on what I can see. And I'm
Hmm.
not accounting at all for the multitude of shit that's just not visible to me.
It's interesting because the entirety of emergence and descriptions of people, which that's largely what it is, descriptions of who we are, every single thing in emergence focuses on what we can see and what we can't. And there's nothing that we can ever become wholly able to see. If I'm mind first, then I'm missing sensation constantly. I don't know when my ass is on the chair because I'm mind first. Unless I think about it, now I notice it, and I'm having trouble thinking. It's I can't see the owl and the bear clearly at the same time. So the answer is not the answer for you as a individual, Jeremy, but the answer is always focus on learning to better see when I can't see.
But when you held those two figures up, that same pattern kicked in. With the bear, I immediately went into the Hunchback of Notre Dame. With the owl, I immediately went into that mechanical owl named Archimedes in Clash of the Titans. I could see that thing flying around, that early 80s movie.
Yeah.
And immediately was disconnected from what you were saying. I
Mm,
did see it, and I was able to come back to what you were saying. But when you held those up, when
mm,
you said Fuzzy Moto, I was gone.
mm,
Immediately in Hunchback of Notre Dame. I wonder why he chose that name. Yeah. And then I could see that fucking owl from that movie flying around mechanically.
He's a bear of color. That's the start, right? Fuzzymoto. Anyway,
I think, um, like Jeremy said, it's just different where he stays in the scene. And for me, it's like I just stay in my head. So I feel like I can't see.
mm,
Um, but
yes.
like my questions were, how do you disregard what you think you know? And I don't know if I really got an answer, to be honest. Like, I shared the other one. How do you know if someone has patience to teach you? And I think it's how safe is it?
mm,
Um, and then how do you grapple with the information that doesn't feel like it has a place?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that one I don't know if I have I have an answer. Maybe like
You have a great sense of the question, Sarah. You learn to see the questions more thoroughly. I don't know that you can do better than that. I had somebody write me a comment on something I wrote on Quora a couple days ago and sent me an email which was long. It starts remind me of you, Jeremy, because the fucking thing started with Mr. Pagliarani. At least it didn't say sir. But the guy was thanking me for writing something I can't remember what the hell it was. But the point was in the second paragraph he starts to tell me that I have an incorrect understanding of the word knowledge or knowing. And I was thinking as we were talking, well, I have had trouble letting go of wanting to write him back and offer a more explanation as to what I mean by that. I
mm,
dreamt about it last night, and
mm,
every one of these actions I'm having to sell myself, shut up and just let it go. Stop. Stop.
mm,
You don't have to get every person in the world to understand everything you've discovered.
mm,
Stop. And then I looked at it and I became curious as to why the guy has this particular version of defining knowledge this way. So I had a little curiosity, but it kept coming back to, in a sense, I know already, therefore, whatever, I get to teach him because I know already, which isn't true, which denies the person the path to learn it on their own. Anyway, we should stop because, Maria, you've done it terrific. This was wonderful, really. It's a hell of a reflection of you feeling safe
mm,
in all of us,
mm.
really. Thank you.
Mhm.
Sam?
I feel also provoked as being asked to teach something, but it's not quite, it's different than Maria. Like I was feeling a lot of stuff about teaching. Like when I got on today, I didn't feel anything yesterday or this morning. I didn't feel nervous or anything, but I did once we started and I was doing some inner stuff and I pictured this time I lived in Spain in this neighborhood called Lavapiés. And right around the corner from where my apartment was this street that just had like 30 or 40 Indian restaurants. It was just that was the neighborhood. It was all Indian restaurants. And I like Indian food a lot. But the worst thing is when I would be starving and it would be like, okay, I have to pick a restaurant. And it's 30 or 40 restaurants of the food that I want to eat. And that's what it feels like when I have to teach something. I go like, when I
Mm,
have to pick a topic, I just feel like I'm wandering in that neighborhood and I'm like, how the hell do I pick? I like all these things, all these dishes look good, everything looks, and it's like becomes a whole meltdown where I didn't even, I still didn't pick the topic even as I'm saying these words. I can't even pick one. I felt relieved when Steve said the retreat would be about self-examination because that's the closest thing to a topic I would say that all the ideas that I had
Mm-hmm.
are related to that. And I think, I think the thing in the email said something like, what makes it hard to learn emergence? I think, is that what it is?
Yes.
And I think the number one thing that is not spoken about enough is that it is self-examination. For me, knowing yourself is the number one way to learn emergence. It's not like how to identify a body first person. No, it's how to identify yourself.
Uh,
It is always the self.
Mm.
It for me at least, it is like so that's the topic for me is just uh how I guess knowing yourself um as the ultimate gateway to learning emergence. And not knowing yourself is the ultimate block to me,
Mm.
so
you
take
know.
a minute. So take a minute, everyone, to write 3 questions.
So can I get a fussy
The
word topic?
summarization. Yeah, go ahead.
Mhm.
No, can you tell me?
Oh, just tell you the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, the topic is knowing yourself or not knowing yourself as the obstacle to learning emergence.
Ah, okay.
Go
Got
ahead,
it.
Steve. You can make it more precise too if you want. I mean, listen, I'm not the
Precision,
precision king. It would be
Oh
helpful
my
if it was more
the
God.
precise. It would
precision
be helpful.
soldiers.
Yeah, no, listen, let's get to the bottom of the funnel.
How does knowing or not knowing yourself affect your ability to learn emergence?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Say it again. Can you say it again, please?
How does knowing or not knowing yourself affect your ability to learn emergence?
Or you could, if you really want to go crazy, you could add or teach emergence. Which is they're essentially the
You
same.
are right,
Learning and
Sam.
teaching have the same patterns. Yeah,
Absolutely. Good addition. It's more precise than me.
it is.
Okay. You're on, Sam.
Yeah. Um, the first thing that's coming into my mind about this topic, I'm just going to talk about myself. I mean, literally, because that's what that's what it's about, knowing myself. So this is related to what Jeremy said about how can you be aware of your blind spots. I mean, the terror for me of teaching is that in order to really teach somebody, I actually have to be aware of how much I know as a person. I really have to know what I know. For instance, this is a really clear example for me from when I worked with Vern and Jeremy. Oftentimes, I didn't, when I worked at Oasis, I wasn't actually aware of how much I knew as a person. And so what would happen oftentimes is somebody would want to learn something, and I would just say all this crazy shit that I knew to them, not really realizing how much I actually knew as a person. And they had no, concept of any of the shit. And it would just be so far beyond it would just fry them, it would just, and that's, and Vern, I gave Vern this compliment like maybe 2 years ago or a year ago. I saw her. And I had suddenly recently, Stephen made me aware of how much I actually know about therapy.
Mm.
And I gave Vern a compliment, and the compliment was, Vern, you really know how to give people something that's just one step where past where they're at. Like I've seen you a million times with interns, and they're like, what about this? And you probably see so much shit that they can't see. And they're like all their codependency, whatever it is. But you'll say, like, why don't you tell this client no about this just something that's one step past where they're at. Um, but in that moment, I'm not gonna say as a person, but in that moment, you're aware of how much you know, and you know what I mean? And that it makes you able to teach them because you're literally aware of yourself. Where me in those moments back then, I didn't know how much I knew, so I just would,
Mm.
so is this making sense, Sarah, to you, what I'm saying?
It it does. First, when you were struggling to pick your topic, that's what I related to that with group and trying to figure out my topics for group. Vern, I'm in my last year of clinical mental health counseling to like become a counselor, changing careers, and so I'm currently in my internship.
Mm.
So when Sam was talking about the codependency and just giving you one step further, my story automatically goes to like, oh, I wonder if I can like move down to North Carolina and actually just like be in this environment. And then I can actually be with Vern and Jeremy and John. And it's like the closest thing to like an emergence like place that I could be. Um,
Wow, that's
yeah.
so sweet, Sarah. That's really cute.
Yeah. But it's nice because I know like there's so much that I don't know. And I've talked about that in sponsor group so much about how I feel like I'm not even going to be like a good therapist or how am I going to help people.
I have to say, and Jeremy knows this is true, and everybody like teases me about this. It's not that I see all this stuff, is that I really do make shit up in that moment. It is the truth.
Yes.
I mean, is it intuition or I don't know, but the point is, I don't worry about what I'm going to say.
Mm.
I just say what is coming up for me, and um, so it's not like I have a lot of choices in there or I see a whole lot of things. I'm not saying I don't see, but the point is, what shows itself is what I speak on, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
It's so opposite. Like when we were talking about in Maria's group, how like we have that voice that's just like going and it like impacts my ability to just be authentic in that way. I don't know if that makes sense.
It
Mm.
does, and I think one of the things that's so powerful about emergence is that it helps organize who you are as a person. It really helps, Sarah. Like the first example I think about is the one you had at the beginning of this group, where you said, I had an urge to ask Jeremy, where the hell are you? But
Mhm.
there was another thing there saying, don't ask about that. Don't say that. Don't, you know what I mean? And just even being able to split those things into two different things is, you
Hmm.
know, yeah, but again, it's like, which one of those is you? Is it the urge to ask the question, or is it the thing saying no? And emergence has like really ways to organize that and ways to know, you know? Yeah, like original, go ahead.
Well, one of my questions was, how do you know yourself without emergence?
Ha ha ha.
It's a good question.
Like,
Wow, that's a really interesting question. That just kind of fried me. How do I know? I don't know how to do that.
that's what I mean. I didn't either. I don't feel like I know myself without emergence. Like when Vern comes on and I'm immediately like, oh, are you story? Are you scene? Are you mind? Are you body? Like it's like a whole nother language we can talk to people with. I mean, I didn't ask
Hmm.
body or mind, but nonetheless. Like,
Steve, I'm curious what came into your mind when Sarah asked that, how do you know yourself without emergence?
It's a toasty question. Um, I can tell you if the question was phrased in during my lifetime, so almost 80 years, in what ways have I tried to know myself? The question
Hmm.
becomes something that I can answer. I don't know that there's some ultimate answer, but I can tell you that all of emergence exists because all of the other ways to know myself failed. So, for
Hmm.
instance, the idea
Wow.
of perhaps in high school, but more like getting when I graduated from high school, psychology became one of my interests. I have a very vivid memory of being 36 years old. I'm about a year or so into AA. We're leaving a meeting. After the meeting, two men are in front of me, are in school to be therapists, and they're talking, or they're rather arguing about the proper interpretation of Freud's theories of something. And I can vividly picture myself walking down this ramp behind them and being so envious that this is what they're doing with their lives. So, but
Hmm.
but then now I'm writing a book on what is arguably the best book I have ever written and may ever write about knowing who you are as a person, right? The four rings of compatibility. How do we know ourselves, right? And in this book, it's just becoming so much more evident that my attempts to know myself, I largely used psychology, psychological theories, therapist theories, most of which are rooted in fixing brokenness. Very rarely are those theories just simply looking at you, who you are as a person, um, or they're functional things like Maslow's hierarchy of need. What things do you do in order to have a good life, right? And then are you a good person because you're doing those good things? Like, but the what is the flaw in all of that? That emergence sees past, and the flaw is that every one of those things looks to assess and know a person in isolation, as an
Mm.
individual, as a single mind and body set apart from the world. And this is the exact same way that science in general looks to know anything about the nature of anything, is to put it in a room, have an experiment where you remove all the variables, all the effects of the world on it, and then think you're going to know the nature of the thing without it being in the natural world.
It's so interesting, Steve, because it's like this is so emergent for me to pose this question, and instead of getting an answer, what I'm getting is the question in my mind just keeps getting better, which is I would add to the question, how do you have to know yourself related to others?
Yes.
You have to know like I think about Jeremy, okay, good example of him knowing himself. He says, when I got on, Sam, I saw your hat in the scene. So he knows himself. He's reporting it. It's between me and him. And then I think in my head, well, I didn't fucking notice any hats. And so what does that mean about my personality? I didn't fucking see anything. I'm in fucking storyland, you know? And so Jeremy knowing himself immediately and then me reflecting, did I notice people's hats? And I'm like, if I close my eyes, I couldn't name a piece of clothing anybody has on. And so that piece, but it has to be Jeremy has to be there. And he has to be there knowing himself. It can't just be, you know, he's reporting in a very specific way that's related to a pattern in emergence, scene versus story.
So I would wonder, I have a question for you, Jeremy, which is that Sam has reported and made this a pattern that I now see in you, which is that you're on meeting people, you comment on what they're wearing. Okay. I am curious if you know the origin of that in yourself. I don't think I've ever met a person who does that as much as you.
I mean, I don't know. This answer doesn't feel like it has a whole lot of juice, but I'm interested in clothes, and so it's like the first thing I notice. I always, when I see you in person, I always notice your outfit first. Vern comes in, she'll tell you in the morning. Oftentimes, I'm like, Vern, I like that jacket. Or, I mean, I do it all the time. When she walks in, it's the first thing I see is what she's wearing. Um, I mean, that's the only answer that I have is that
So I
from
have a question for you. Do you
Me too.
think that okay? Sam, you're leading, so you go first.
Mine is a story question though. So this is the piece of knowing myself to bring it into the top. Like I can see my question is there a person? I don't even want you to answer yet. Who's the best dressed person in your childhood? But I can see part of it is me seeing in real time. Oh shit, this is a story question. I'm asking a seen person. How will this question affect him? I mean, this is the whole thing about knowing myself. And then I have an urge to change the question and go, can you see a scene from your childhood where someone's dressed really well? And I want to make a little modification to it instead.
Sam, that was complicated.
No shit. Yeah.
Let me stop you, Jeremy. Don't answer. What I want to ask is, can it be? I'm not trying to put this in your head. Can it be that you're noticing clothing is the safest way that you can begin to stand there or be with a person?
Mm.
Because you seem to be absolutely yourself when you do it.
yeah, no, that rings true.
Like there's nothing contrived, there's nothing nervous. It's just you.
Yeah, no, no ambivalence.
No ambivalence. And you're not compelled, you're not in a hurry, it's not an injury. It may be that that's the most familiar way you have of making yourself comfortable when you're going to interact with another person.
Well, it makes me curious because I've done it to Vern so many times. Does it surprise you or catch you off guard when I comment? Because I know with Sam, if I'm like, Sam, you got those infrared sixes on, he's gone, and it catches him off guard. So, what's it like for you, Vern? You walk in the morning because I do it pretty regularly. I'm just realizing how often I do that to you.
To be honest, I mean, as a 67-year-old woman, if somebody younger than me says I look, they like something I'm wearing, I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay,
Hi,
we are
Jeremy.
now resuming
Hey.
Sam's.
I literally can't remember what we were talking about. In that scene that fried me.
Sam, what's your story about me moving?
I don't understand how you got to the house that quickly. I actually don't know. I can't make up a story. Were you in the parking lot of the
I
apartment?
have a story. I
I
have a
was.
story. My story was he was already from the gym. He was already at the house. He just parked in his driveway and he just never left. And then when he
Okay,
went
now I
off
have.
camera,
Well, I have a
when
story about Jeremy can't be late to anything. So I could imagine even if he was right there at the house, he would rather start it than be 1 minute late. He'd rather log on from the parking lot than just go 2 minutes late and be in the house.
That's an accurate story. And the rest of the story is I would have stayed right where I was at, but my laptop was starting to die and I didn't have a cord in the car.
Ah,
you
yeah.
spun out in the car, even though you were literally 2 feet from the house,
I can't be late. Sam's right.
but you were already on. So does that consider you late if you were already on?
All right, Sarah.
Okay,
How
fine.
does knowing or not knowing yourself affect your ability to learn emergence? That's what we're on to.
Yeah, and I feel like Vern, you're probably the only one that doesn't know this, but I'm story. So I'm the seamless wonder of the world, and so this has been a provocative discovery for me about learning it and teaching it because I'm like, what have I not learned about emergence all these years because I didn't, how much of emergence is in a scene that I need to see a scene in order to learn it. And I have a newfound anxiety, like even in this group, like I'll talk for 30 seconds and then I'll go, I can't picture anything in the scene that I'm in. I don't know if anyone went blank. I don't know who got lost. I mean, I can look then and see, but there was like a 45-second period where I just didn't see Athena because of where her box was. And then I looked at her and I was like, oh my God, Athena, I forgot.
Sam, I'd be curious to know why you're one of the few people that I mean, you live in stories, but I can follow you pretty easily. I'm not sure exactly why, but I can't picture a whole lot of times where you just drowned me, where a lot of story first people do. So I'm not sure why that is. If it's our relationship, I don't know what it is, but you rarely like story. I have this thing with story first people. I'll start to get tired involuntarily if they stay in a story too much. I don't really get that with you, and I don't understand. I don't understand why.
So this is a question for you to write down, Jeremy. And I mean, Sam mentioned this before, that the idea that emergence as a science, instead of doing what conventional science does, which is try to find answers, we ask questions to try and find better questions.
Yeah, that's really a provocative question that I don't have of course I do not have an answer to, but yeah, I think, yeah, yeah, I wonder about that too. I'm now wondering if I have that experience. Are there seen people that don't affect me the same way? Like, because I get a little cooked by somebody that's seen at times, or I can get cooked, Um,
Well, you get put into the oven at Auschwitz when Hannah
yes.
fucking is in a scene
Oh, yeah.
and you
Oh,
two are at it.
it wrecks me, man. Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely wrecks me.
I got a theory
Um,
about this, Jeremy. My
Okay.
okay.
theory my theory is this. Have you ever felt the urge to say sir to Sam?
No, never. Not
I
one time.
believe that that's the tipping point based
Mm.
emergence style test for you as to who is going to put you to sleep with stories.
Mm.
If you feel like it's a peer relationship without any effort, just is, you probably don't get tired.
Hmm.
Now, it's a question. I'm not saying it as I know, but
No, again, that rings very true. Um, yeah, because I mean, I've spent literally years at this point trying to dismantle the hierarchy that I created between you and I feel like it's closed, but it isn't to where me and Sam are. So I think I mean, that rings very true, actually.
How about
Mm.
between you and I, Jeremy?
Yeah, you don't make me tired either.
I mean, I know I jump to the story.
Yeah, no, you don't. You don't make me tired.
Hmm.
You don't drown me.
I tell short stories.
Yeah.
You're just
Jeremy,
gonna make go.
do you the word "sir" to you is is there is it is there a word for like women that
Ma'am.
that you
Yeah, ma'am.
have you ever felt the urge to call me ma'am?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I actually had the same question because when we would have our table talks in the morning, Jeremy, did 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 I ever overwhelm you?
You've never thinking about that. I don't think you've ever overwhelmed me with stories.
Hmm.
Words, yes, but not. I don't think it's stories. It's more words.
Let me
So
comment on
Great.
that. Let me comment on that because this is something that I got this week that I have gotten clearer about in my writing and talking. And the idea of talking with Maria, this has come up the past couple times, that we can see scenes, we can see stories. Both of those are in the inner layers. But if we have ideas, we're not seeing. It's neither a scene nor a story. And a
Hmm.
person can say words that describe a scene or describe a story, but they're neither because all they are is words.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So when we are talking about something that is a defining quality of a personality, it must be something that we can see. It's not just something we know about, a theoretical thing, an idea. And if a person's just saying ideas, you're neither in a scene nor a story with them, unless
And
you
what
have
you
a
can
mind.
be seeing could just be your own feelings, correct? You're not saying
We're
in the
seeing,
visible
listen,
world.
but the thing that Jeremy is saying, where he's going from scene to scene to scene, when something, when I'm bringing something up, or Maria or whatever, in the beginning of this group, um, he's seeing things. He's reporting the visual material. What I'm more speaking about is that often, Sarah, you'll be saying something and not picturing. So you're neither in a scene nor a story, which then that means that the description that Sam was making or Jeremy was making was accurate. That he's not reacting because you're in neither.
Hmm.
So that doesn't generate the oppositeness.
Mm. Yeah, I'm really having some ahas in this about. I'm really glad Maria went first. Because I just realized usually I feel a real closeness with both you, Maria, you and Steve, but I can see that because you guys have both a scene and a story, there's something when I'm running a group that's so missing for me. And it's not like I'm bad or something like that, but I remember the only time I really feel peace running a group is when it was me and Jeremy at the rehab because he's scene, I'm story, and I never felt like any anxiety running a group with him because I just felt like, all right, I'm blind, but I got my seeing eye dog, and it's like we're good. I'm not gonna crash into anything. Like Jeremy's gonna notice something in the scene, and it's just, and I'll come in with the story, and I didn't have any of the language, but when I'm running a group by myself, I'm like. I don't know if I could ever not feel anxiety about the fact that I'm missing a scene. Like I just feel this anxiety. I felt it my whole life. And seeing you, Maria, be basically hit points of complete calmness, I don't ever feel that. Not completely. I can enjoy it. I can do a good job. But the fucking thing I see clearer today that with no scene, I there's an anxiety fucking there that it's just like you can't really be all right without having a scene in a group. And I thought about you, Sarah, like, God, are you slightly anxious every time you run a group, Sarah?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost while it's authentic, it also becomes somewhat performative, is what it feels like.
Yeah. I'm having actual empathy for myself instead of this is the first time I'm not going, well, I must be reliving a wound or like maybe I'm taking too much responsibility. And I'm just like, what if I'm fucking blind and I'm just walking through a room? I would be anxious if I was blind walking through a room I don't know.
Mm.
Sam, it's funny to hear you say that because I've done thousands of groups at this point, and it's an aha for me. The ones we did together were, yeah, I experienced the least anxiety, and I'm good at doing groups, and I
Me
still
too.
experience more anxiety this past week than I used to years ago when you and I used to run groups. I mean, that makes sense. I never saw that connection. I thought it was just having, yeah, I don't know. I put a bunch of other labels on it other than, but that makes perfect sense, man. We were a pair of opposites walking around in there.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'm 100%. I mean, literally when this group started, I felt like a little kid. I was like, I wish Jeremy was doing this hour with me,
Mm.
even though you're literally here.
Mm.
And but this is what I mean by you see yourself. All of this is from knowing myself being story story. Because I know I'm story story, because I see I'm story story, suddenly I can get a little bit of space, and in the space I can shit just pours in. I start learning, should I make space? Every moment Sarah goes is doing every time when Sarah's doing this, she's making space for there to be something else other than just I'm asleep at the wheel of my own nature.
Mm.
So this thing that you're saying, Sam, we briefly raised it a bit ago, but this idea of like when in effect Jeremy said, so I can see this blindness, what do I do about it? And my answer is you learn to in real time see it more. And so the value in these patterns in emergence is that the minute you learn a pattern exists, not just the words, but the minute you actually have one example like that, your story, your entire worldview, your entire sense of yourself, you have this huge new area open up of learning that you didn't even know you didn't know about.
Hmm.
So when you're speaking, when you just spoke and watching you and Jeremy interact, I thought back to the group that I ran at Oasis and my coming out of that group and going home with Anna and breaking down.
Mm.
And I broke down because I recognized that I hope this doesn't sound too terrible. I don't know another human being who could immerse themselves more in a group.
Mm.
And at the same time, I don't know another human being who, in order to do that, would sacrifice themselves so entirely and not even realize the effect it was having on me.
Mm.
None.
Mm.
And when I ran the group at Oasis, it's been so many years since I've run a group in that uh, group of people that it became very obvious to me that I could probably pick out any person there and create that bubble of visual whatever, enter something into it. But that until I left and watched how few people came over to me at the end or whatever and just sat outside waiting to get picked up, I realized, what have I been doing? I haven't known the effect on me. Not
Mm.
once have I ever seen the effect on me. Like I haven't seen me at all. It's not, I didn't see what was happening to other people or what they might have gained, which made me happy, of course, but I was not seeing the price that I pay to learn about those other people's lives and personalities and troubles. I was not seeing what it was costing me.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, this story running a group is costing me is a fucking shit ton of anxiety, and I know it's costing Sarah. And just 2 minutes ago, I saw a choice that has always existed, literally, and I've never seen it, which is at the beginning of this hour, I could have said, Maria, will you be my designated scene person? If you happen to spot something in this scene that seems to be going awry, can you just go, hey, listen, Sam, Athena's not breathing. Like I could have asked for help, like not asking you to run the group, but just can somebody like keep a watch on this scene for me because I can't see it. Instead of I'm completely responsible for shit I can't see because of my nature, not because I'm not trying hard enough or because I'm ignoring it or you know. It took me fucking almost 2 hours to notice Athena had a heating pad. Or maybe she didn't have it the whole time. Who fucking knows? Not me.
She didn't have it the whole time.
You know, see, that's what I'm saying. You could go, Sam, Athena just put on a heating pad. Maybe she's in physical pain. You should, all right, Athena, are you all right? You suffering? You know, like it's all right. And I never thought my whole life to just ask. Go ahead, Bia.
Steve, my question, my first question, I only had two because it was so deep. When they hit me, I couldn't even keep going. But my first question for this topic was, as a two, I'm often so attentive to other people's needs. Is it possible that I'm constantly learning them better than I learn myself?
Mm.
And the way that you was talking about that, Steve, like I can get so like I'm like I want to learn everything and I'm not learning anything about my state, how it's affecting me right now. Not like the qualities of my personality, but me and like learning about me in that moment, you
Yeah.
know, is like gone. Like there's just,
Yes.
do I have to fucking pee? Like
Oh shit, I do have to pee. I'm not
I
gonna go
just
now, but I have to. You just made me realize I had to pee.
But when you're saying that, so that is was such a life-changing day. In some sense, I feel like the universe said, "We're going to give back to you."
Mm.
And when we got back home, I basically sat at Hannah's table and put my head on the table and sobbed for a
Mm.
long time about how cruel I've been to myself.
Mm.
And that's not accurate because Sam is saying it more accurately, which is that how blind I have been to myself and the
Mhm.
effect that it has had on myself. Um, I have often run groups like that, and the group has been so life changing for some people, at least some few people, that feels like my reward. Except that it's like a one directional thing. All I am thinking about is I'm the fucking center of the universe, responsible for these people's lives or troubles or helping or teaching or whatever. And there is no limit to the suffering that I'll endure in order to get the job done.
Mm.
But then I go away and I'm exhausted, but I don't understand the exhaustion until
Mhm.
that day, and I really did understand it for the first time.
Mm. I'm just so touched by how compassionate emergence can be as we grow in it.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
to start to understand who we are, and it's not about changing who we are. It's about embracing who we are and having compassion for the um, what we can't know, and and
That's
it
right.
and
That's
it being okay that I can't know. Um, and as I learn more and more about myself, I do some of the blind spots shift, but that's almost the best I can hope for. You know,
I
I
agree.
think there's so much pressure to change, and it's
Hmm.
not about changing. That's what I'm experiencing. It, we do grow, um, but it's not about Sam you changing.
That's right, Vern.
I loved the video that you all did, the third video.
Ah, yes,
Oh my
yeah.
God, to see your whole process of realizing that you were story. And I love the part when you said, what do you want, Steve? I'm story. You know, that it was so touching though.
Yeah, Steve was really touched by that. He's referenced that so many times since that video. Rewatching that, I mean, the level of empathy has for me with that has been touching to me.
Mm, Anyway, that's coming up for me right now.
So it's an interesting thing, Vern, because part of what I was thinking as we got on this morning was, of course, about you, because this is the first time you're sitting in this with us, and so on. And a piece of what I felt concerned about could be really described as I'm very concerned that you're exactly like I was in that group.
Mm,
I'm so concerned that you're so willing to sacrifice yourself to help people. And it's not my business. I'm not doing this as a therapist or telling you to change.
mm-hmm,
What we are talking about is the great value in emergence is that we can admit that we can't learn some things. What kind of a school teaches people that?
yeah.
To admit and acknowledge, not in an empty way,
Mm-hmm,
but in a way that the irony is that the more that you can see the pattern you can't see, the more you can learn from others who do have that sight.
mm-hmm, yeah. I
I
think
will never have the level of ability to normally immerse myself in scenes the way Scene First people have. I will never have that. I am grateful to have 20% or have it 20% of the time,
mm-hmm,
you
Mhm.
know. But I more and more become able to be immersed in a scene, including in that third video with Sam, where I was immersed in the scene.
mm-hmm,
I literally was feeling what it was like to be seen first in
mm-hmm,
that video and seeing the fight between Sam and I that had nothing to do with the content of what we spoke about. It
mm-hmm.
was just the pattern and the oppositeness, and that was it.
I think the difference, Steve, and I'm not sure, the jury's still out on me, but I think the difference may be I may be me first.
Oh, you are me first,
Okay.
Vern. Wait.
So,
But I
yeah.
have observed you as
Mhm.
I have seen, Clancy a lot of the time, that you are a lot of the time are upside down.
Mhm. The,
When I sat for the first time that day that I came and I watched you do the morning meeting with everybody, you were right side up. You were no nonsense, all business. Yes, next. Yes, this. Yes, that. And I loved it because
Oh, it's
that
the
was
best.
just solidly you.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that may be, to some extent, I'm like thankful when I'm right side up that when I'm going into a group, yes, it's about the clients, but it's also about me.
Good for you.
Mhm.
That relieves me
That's solid.
in
Yeah,
some
that's
way because I can. Okay. So consider for a minute what the depth of what just got communicated in about 4 minutes between Vern and me. The depth, the amount of things that it said about each of us as a person, no judgment. Just here's the patterns, right? Wow. Imagine what somebody would have to do if they were doing this psychologically. It would need to be a book, not 4 minutes. Sarah?
Okay, yay. Um, so first of all, Verna, I'm also, well, I am a three. And so I can totally relate when I go into a group and the group is I don't want to say difficult, but when they're not really putting in a ton of their effort, I got the hugest, and it will make me emotional. I got the hugest compliment from Steve last like 2 weeks ago when I had said that sometimes in group I'll like take my paper and I'll like bunch it up and I'll be like, guys, I'm not going to sit here for 20 minutes in silence. And he was like, that is a Sam. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my God.
that's good, Sarah. I didn't know that.
Oh man. And so my point is like, I I want to keep trying, but like I also know that there's that part of me where I'm like, I'm suffering and I don't know how to stay in the group if you guys can't participate too. Um,
Mm.
but there was something, I keep getting nervous, but I think like long story short, I'm whatever. So, um, there's this new client that I got, and he was going into a scene, and I freak out because during one of the emergence, I think it was no, it was on a recent grand rounds. Tom went into a scene with John just briefly, and it's like the Maria, like it's like the voice. It's like I don't know how to go there. What am I supposed to do? And then the socialization between like, is it safe to go there? Should I go there? He's a new person, like, you know, I'm scared that I don't know how to go into scenes.
Hmm.
Instead of being scared about it, Sarah, find compassion in yourself that you would give other people for just what Sam is bringing up in this hour, which is we all have blindness that's massive and that will
Massive.
not change because it is fully in us by 4 years old, fully visible by 7 years old, and just the simple patterns in emergence, which there's a collection of whatever 20 patterns or something, just that collection could take many lifetimes to even become competent at seeing that we're blind. The
Or
competency is at
And
seeing what we're blind at.
exactly. And of course, I work, Sarah. I work to see the scene, but I also work to see that I'm in the story. Like I put most of the effort in just seeing where I am. And I feel like the limits, I mean, one of the things about like what resonated with Vern from the third basics video is me saying my limit. Like I'm story, like I just said my limit, like it's
Yes,
not,
yes.
and like Jeremy and Vern work in a field where it's like the whole thing is about having a limit. Like it's like I'm an alcoholic. I can't drink. Like I have a limit with this thing. And then my life is, things seem to get better. When you have a limit, your life gets better in a lot of ways. And the
Hmm.
best evidence is getting sober is a perfect example.
Hmm.
And like having a limit, like me going, oh, I'm just gonna ask Maria to like check out the scene for me. That's like me acknowledging I have a fucking limit. Like I can't, there's a limit to how much I'll see a scene forever. Like there's a serious limit. And if I
Sa-
do psychology on myself, go ahead.
no, in our groups, I'm having more
Hmm.
ahas the more I
Hmm.
think about our groups.
Hmm.
When we first started doing groups, I used to, some of the questions you would ask, the story based questions,
Questions.
would
Yeah.
catch me by surprise. And I'm like, how did he know to ask that in that moment? And a lot of it, what I've done over the years is like some of the patterns that you use to ask questions, I've kind of just mimicked them.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's learning how to do that has been like crucial because before we started co-facilitating, I was okay, but I had no idea. Watching you over and over, week after week, asking story-based questions taught me how. Because I remember at first I was like, "How the fuck did he know to ask that right then?" Because it would just be like the perfect question for what's going on in the moment. And I was like, I never would have thought of that. And of course, I thought, he whatever. I had a bunch of different reasons, but this tying it together of why it was so shocking to me when you would ask certain questions. Yeah, it's just a massive
And of
aha.
course, you filled in so many scenes for me. Like you'd get set off that somebody like would leave the friggin' room, like so you just be like, and then that would make me aware of like, yo, yeah, that's really fucking up the vibe. Like I would start to see pieces from the scene that would fuck with the group that would really make you like, and you don't ever get like angry, but you'd get like set off by shit in the scene that I'd be like, yeah, that's fucked up actually. We got it. And then we'd come up with a thing about like, you can't fucking, whatever. We'd have interns chasing them out or whatever, that kind of shit.
That's why Jeremy and I are good together at work too, because he does see the details, the scene, and sometimes gets stuck in the scene, whatever. And but I may not see those details, and so we help each other. It's really amazing, actually, and beautiful.
Oh yeah, Jeremy would always be like, "Stop hitting your fucking vape" or whatever. Like he just catch the people. I wouldn't see any of that stuff that was going on.
I do see some of those things, and it is interesting how sometimes when I ask questions, if like there's this one person I'm thinking about, he always is like, I don't know. And then I'll think, did I ask a story question to a seen person? And now I'm trying to figure out, how do I reword it? Don't necessarily know how
That's
sometimes,
something
but
I put a lot of thought into
yeah,
recently.
I definitely understand the mimicking aspects
I'm
of
in the scene
Well,
with Maria right now. I just want to know I'm resisting. I have an urge to make up a story about what Maria's thinking, but I'd rather just ask her, what are you thinking right now?
How different I am from the first hour to the second hour. Just watching myself. I feel a lot more pain physically. Um, I'm more
Wow.
distracted by the house, the shit that's going on around me. The ideas feel faster than I can follow right now. Or
Mm.
or I get there and then it leaves. And I'm staying there longer and whatever the thing is, and it's on to another. Um,
If you could
that's
go back, oh god, go ahead, go ahead.
no, it's just an interesting, like total opposite self that I'm experiencing and just watching it. This is more my normal self in a group. The one at 10 o'clock is more me normally as a therapist. So I'm like not as used to the first one in a group, and I'm like, okay, what's happening here? Trying to learn
Interesting.
myself.
And now you
Hmm.
have the pair of opposites back to back, Maria.
Yeah, yeah, and it's kind of it's hitting harder. I didn't expect to feel more pain being the student. I expected to feel more pain being the teacher in the group, but it's
I
opposite.
have the opposite. I'm more pain as the teacher because then I started flooding with the opposite. That's when the pain hit. I'm
Uh-huh.
not even sure if it's because it's this that I switched to the teacher. I think it's just the opposite. The pain hits when the opposite
Mm,
occurs to me.
mm,
Seeing you calm and me not calm, then the pain hit. If I, yeah, but I think I could have been gone first, and then when you went and you were calm, the pain would have still hit. I think it just would have hit later.
mm.
I think that's an inference, but
So at this point, I'm curious about people's questions and how, whatever. But I wrote three things down myself. How does knowing or not knowing yourself affect your ability to learn emergence? Well, this includes me. I frequently wonder how people can think I know so much about emergence when my feeling is I constantly am faced almost every day with how much I don't know, which
hmm
is not to say there's something wrong with me. Um, the scene story thing has so affected me, being that I feel like this is the capstone of my discoveries, that this is the doorway into everything else. Why is it coming at the end of almost 40 years? Um, and I don't, it doesn't matter. It just is. So I wrote down um, the three things that affect me about this, which would inhibit me from wanting to know myself more, learning about myself, because I will take away today the idea that I can't know anything unless I have myself as a baseline, because
Mm.
everything is
bingo.
about interacting. And so this idea of like that knowing yourself, right? But my sense of knowing yourself before was the Socrates sense of knowing myself like a psychologist, knowing myself
hmm
in isolation, right? And that's been psychology as long as it's existed. But that's not emergence. And it's only this year or in the past year roughly, that I'm making it explicit that we can only do this measurement and know each other by, when we're observing how we interact. Like what Maria's saying about the two ways she's interacted in this group. Well, first, it's seeing herself, but second, she's seeing herself change in interacting with the group when the group changes. So it isn't even just being with a different person. It's in being a teacher and being a student, things like that. What I
Mm,
wrote down that inhibits me about this is I feel afraid to know more about myself when I'm afraid I will harshly judge myself.
mm,
And that often
Hmm.
happens. That is just an automatic response to me for not knowing.
mm,
I eventually get over it when I'm able to give it to others in a valuable way, or what seems like valuable to me, but I get, I don't know, because I harshly judge myself for not knowing. Maybe
mm,
that's why I so highly value um, just making discoveries, because the discovery itself doesn't cause the harshness. It's only later when I think about what I have been in my life without knowing this.
mm,
The pain, like the pain that I caused you, Sam, in that third video, I
Hmm.
discovered by being so thoroughly in a scene that I could
Hmm.
understand. So, oh God, like look what I'm doing to Sam, right? So that judging myself harshly at times inhibits me. I don't want to know. And when another one is when I'm afraid what I see will mean I must leave a relationship. And
mm,
I am increasingly seeing that that one is just so hard for me because I've had so many bad relationships with ones, and I didn't want to see that I should leave. I didn't want to look at what wasn't working. It wasn't just that I didn't see it most of the time. Sometimes I did. But when I did, I didn't want to see it. And that's different than denial, which just happens unconsciously. I didn't want to see it. So I didn't want to learn. I didn't want to learn what it would be like to be without that person, for instance.
mm,
I didn't think I'd survive.
Hmm.
And then I'm afraid to see myself clearly when I believe that what people see will make me hate myself more.
mm,
That people pointing out my flaws, I get afraid, because I've lived in a very judgmental world, including the world in my own mind. I'm so judgmental of myself, and I hate parts of myself, or I have hated parts of myself severely at times,
mm,
and so I just assume that other people will hate me similarly if they see that part of me, and so I don't want to know. Well, all three of these things prevent me from learning who others are because I'm so self-centered I can't see anything but my own faults.
mm,
And that inhibits my ability to learn emergence and perhaps slows my discoveries down to the point where I can tolerate it.
mm,
Because I know that like if I saw that thing in the ceiling in the Sistine Chapel, which is painted so badly, it looks like a fucking cartoon in real life, where the God and the person, the human, are touching, right? The spark goes between them. I keep thinking about the Buddhists saying, if you could fully experience the love of God, you'd be a toasted fucking lump of coal. Like we wouldn't tolerate that much knowing or that much love,
mm.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I'm curious about what all of you have seen about from your questions or with that which Sam raised.
I'll go. Um, well, it's ironic that you went with that question, or like you gave that question, Steve, because my second question was what blocks our ability to know or get in touch with ourselves. And so I didn't have an answer, and I was just writing down what you were saying. And I think if I were to say, if I were to try to find an answer right now, I would just give you ideas. Um,
That's knowing yourself well.
And if you watch the urge that you have to come up with an answer that's empty
mhm,
and override it and go, I can't see right now. I'm blind right now. And
yeah.
nobody's going to judge you here for that.
Mm,
Yeah.
The other questions I have were, how do you know yourself without emergence? And we
Right.
talked about you have to know yourself in relationship to others. And then the third one was, how can you trust what you know about yourself? Like, when I'm trying to think of a good example, but let's just say at my internship site, I'm trying to figure out if my clinical supervisor is like a 3 or a 2, or like what character type they are. And it just sort of gets blank, right? And it's like, but I know that my baseline has often been, I go back to the first time I met you, Steve, in person, and I felt older than you. And so, right. But like, I don't feel older than others. I just sort of feel old. So then I'm wondering, is that me being a 3 and then them being a 3? Like, is that a 4? So, like, how do I trust what I know about myself so that like I can read other people?
I would add, how can you possibly trust yourself when you know that you're so blind? And
Yes.
that answer has an answer, but it's a very personal one for each person. And I don't think anybody has a right to say. But that is the question. Knowing I'm this blind, how could anybody trust me?
I so agree with that. I don't think I could. The trust is so personal. Like when I think about trust, I could never verbalize what that's like in myself about trusting what I see and stuff like that. I don't know if it generalizes out. Anyway, I've got to go. I pushed myself 17 minutes past my limit because I really couldn't let go, but I really couldn't let go, honestly.
Can we take a quick restroom break for anybody
I
that
just want to say thank you. I'm sorry that I have to go.
bye bye Sam, we shall
Yes.
miss you. And we shall
Sam,
judge you harshly. Just kidding.
Okay, so I guess I'm on.
I'm gonna run to the restroom because I had to.
Go pee. Jeremy, you look like you're in pain.
I don't think so.
I didn't say you were.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder how many times people think you're in pain because you're quiet and inside your mind.
Hmm. It's a good question.
I would bet that you and I have a thing in common that I probably never mentioned to you, which is that I think you're probably one of the more misunderstood human beings I've ever met.
Hmm.
That I bet, I mean, that people have told me that. Yeah. I think, in some sense, there's a difficulty knowing how to read you. Not on you. Look at his smile. You're a mysterious guy. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess. Yeah. What did you write down to Sam's thing, Jeremy?
Well, all my questions had a similar theme about it. So the second question was, how can I develop a greater ability to even see myself in a moment? Because if it's about knowing yourself and I lose sight of myself, how can I see what's emerging as far as who I am? And that's a big thing. Like it never fails people. I mean, it probably happens minimum a dozen times a day. Somebody's like, how are you today? And that question always catches me by surprise because I'm not paying attention. And, you know, so I can know certain things about myself. Like I can know that I'm a 2, but oftentimes I notice that I'm just giving and giving and giving, and I don't even see it right away. So that's, to me, that's a challenge as far as knowing myself, and then knowing that in some moments it's just not visible to me because I'm like the fucking invisible man.
Mm.
Yeah. This relates to the thing I said about people not being able to tell, who you are, and so people who will insert or infer things about who you are will often be inaccurate, I would guess.
Yeah, unless you're Sam, he infers pretty well.
Yeah. Okay, so the third topic, and the topic is, why do schools use bells to announce changes? Don't look it up, Jeremy.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm
Okay.
not.
All right. Good.
I'm just typing in my answers.
You
Good.
already shared it with me, so am I cheating if I?
But you still can have questions unless you think you're a world expert in bells. And of course, this applies to what makes learning emergence hard. That's the point.
Mm.
So, I am going to claim that this question is probably the most invisible problem about learning emergence. And invisible because, like, the broad brush foundational things we come to believe or take on as an internal worldview, something we just take for granted and don't ever question. Um, the bells in the early educational schools are part of what makes emergence difficult to learn, really difficult. So, let me start with, can any of you recall hearing bells go off at the beginnings or endings of classes or lunch or recess or anything? Can any of you now talk about it? Could you just talk about it? A memory or a scene or something? First thing that comes to mind. Maria.
Um, Besides my fussiness about what you meant by changes, I let myself just hear the 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 sounds, and I can hear there's like a 1 minute warning bell that went once, I think. And then there was like a 3 bing, bing, bing when you were to be in class. And after that, if it's going and you're still out in the hallway, you're late. Um, were a few things that came to my mind just about my own memory of them.
Okay. You know what grade?
What came to mind first was middle school. So sixth, seventh, eighth,
Okay.
10, 11.
Anyone else? Athena.
I just have memories of being in elementary school and being a hall monitor. And we were given special little belts to signify we were our authority as hall monitors. This is the 70s, guys, um, in Detroit. And yeah, and just hurting people, like hurting these kids, right? Like my fellow students.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of herding cattle.
Mm-hmm.
Now at that point, I hadn't experienced sheep farms yet, but I had experienced cattle drives.
It's
And
perfect. That is a perfect story to what
I
we're
mean,
about to talk about.
it was like, yeah, I mean, I remember going on cattle drives because, a distant relative had horse ranches that we supplied horses to cattle ranches. And, you know, and I remember thinking, back then that if I ever had children, I wouldn't put them in a school system. I would travel the world and I would homeschool them
Mm.
as a kid. Like I remember thinking,
Mm.
and then I remember growing into an adult, and as an adult thinking, I want to live on a boat. And if I have children, I want to homeschool my children
Mm-hmm.
and just sail around the world and just teach them. And then, of
So
course, here I am.
I'm going to put a post-it up here about herding sheep. Anybody else?
I started thinking about Pavlov
Excellent.
and I also thought about how the bells were like a obviously something that I had no concept of at the time, but it was like a very specific, clear tipping point. Class is going on, bell goes off, class is over. It's just a very clear,
Yes,
it was, and now it's not.
absolutely. Absolutely. Maria.
Yeah, Jeremy, I wrote down the scene changing learning, that the learning is not something where it's like math is connected to Spanish and Spanish is connected to English. It's
Mm,
like this change scene math, okay, going to history, you're changing the scene of your learning. Like they're not these things where it's like, okay, the oppositenesses, let's learn about them and how they're similar, Spanish and English. They're like taught in all these separate scenes almost.
That's
mm,
interesting, Maria, because a thought that I have had today, because it's never been that three of us taught a separate hour, that how this is almost seamlessly blending.
Mm,
There's no bells.
mm,
It's this natural change.
mm.
I don't have any worry about it being exactly an hour or
yeah,
nothing like that.
yeah. Well, that's the first thing I noticed, Steve. At the end of the first hour, my mind went straight to, I noticed that it's not clearly defined 60-minute sessions, and that felt strange at first. The
Yeah.
second time it happened, I didn't even notice, but the first time I'm like, oh man, we're like 17 minutes into Sam's session.
Yes.
And then it happened again in the third hour, and
Yes.
I noticed it, but it didn't feel strange. It's like school has conditioned me that like first class is 60 minutes, second class is 60 minutes, third class is 60 minutes.
And think about that what that you just added. Athena is saying that being the hall monitor is like herding sheep, and you're adding this idea of the distinction between things and then noticing that that didn't happen and having it come to your attention. I don't know what you would have said you felt. I would guess some at least minor level of anxiety about why is it not happening in the way that I said. I'm not saying that's what you felt,
Mhm.
but that idea of it's a change. What's happening? And you know what? I can't remember who it was. I think Kierkegaard said we're not afraid of heights. We're not afraid of falling. We're afraid of jumping
Mm,
because we have the freedom to do that, and we're afraid of freedom.
mm,
Hmm.
So the freedom to have not an hour or not a bell or not a distinctive change can cause great anxiety.
mm,
And on the other side, you know, herding sheep, right? You don't get to say where you go or any deviation. You're a sheep. Therefore, you just do,
mm.
you know, as a kid in school. Anyway,
The thing that came up for me was why did we need a startle sound to change?
say that a little bit more detail.
Mhm.
Bell, the whatever that sound. Why did we need a startle to tell us to end and change?
That's a very interesting. Look at how this is
Now it
connecting.
reminds me of alarm clocks.
Okay, wait, but now think of now Pavlov's dog, right? And that's brilliantly connected because I hadn't thought about, well, how many kids get startled by the bell and you just go blank and just move, right? And it's an interesting thing because I only understand Pavlov using emergence because I understand Skinner. Both of them are talking about conditioning, but Pavlov does things by giving the dogs a treat, and Skinner does it by you avoiding some nasty thing. Anyway, look at Maria's head.
I'm just thinking
But
about the fucking seatbelt. The seatbelt, and Gene almost loses his head if the seatbelt is not put on because of the fucking
okay,
bell, the fucking ding.
okay. And I want you to recognize that's brilliant too. Do you understand the bell is the warning about not obeying the
Yes.
rules in the car?
Yes.
The
Mm,
bell.
Mm.
I remember feeling such anxiety at class change as a young kid. Like I remember being in a like I remember the anxiety. Is that intentional? Like what? Why would they cause such anxiety?
Which we will, this is what we will be talking about in this time. But already, look at all the things that are different and yet so interacting with each other. Sarah?
I just remembered I used to have a dream and I couldn't figure out where I was. It was in a school and it was some weird schedule and I couldn't figure out where I was supposed to go next because it was a building that I wasn't familiar with. But the bell was at like you had to get there within a certain amount of time and I had no idea where I was going.
mm,
Like, hmm. But I also like Jeremy. I wrote, what role does Pavlov play in the bells being used?
mm,
No.
So, the answer is a very simple one, and it's one of the more meaningful things I've ever learned, which is that the bells came from the development of factories in England, which were large scale in the early 1800s, large to beginning to middle, and every single thing in a factory was signaled with a bell.
mm,
It still is to this day. And then what is the implication of that? Because it was a massive world view change, a change in society for the first time. Because before the factories, people worked at home, they worked in villages, they didn't work together in large groups. There was no such thing. So when the factory started, you were away from home, you were away from your family, you were away from your things that you're familiar with, and you were in a large group of people who, at beginning, certainly are strangers. And the way that the work is designed, you stay strangers. All that you're required to do is sit there at your desk and accomplish something. Be productive. So now, this is where the entire system of education, when children went from a few people of kids of different ages in a single room school to schools which divide things into classrooms, this is where they just simply copied the bells from the factories. And what does that mean about education? It means that the bells serve the same purpose as in the factories. They make us, or they prepare us, which was originally the point, they prepare us to be good little factory workers in society. So how does that affect our ability to learn emergence? I can't even count the ways. We all arrive here waiting for the bells. And exactly what Jeremy pointed out, they don't come here. We don't have bells. There's a freedom between changes, there is a fluidity, there is a lack of a curriculum that's rigidly tested afterwards. And so now the question becomes for us to consider for a bit, is that a good thing? A bad thing? Both? The lack of bells. What does that mean? Sarah?
When Vern said that the bell was like a startle, like using the sound as a startle, and then I thought about horns and like startling people in their car, and then I thought about um why can't I think of the word? Smoke detectors. And
All of those loud sounds are have a similarity, but the point of the factory, and then schools get modeled after factories, and schools are factories for learning, and the learning is to get you to be a good little factory worker when it comes to regurgitating knowledge. That's a horrible thing. And yet we've all been affected by it. If we went to early education and in those classes they use bells, then we got programmed to do this. And arriving at in emergence and learning here, you're required to let go of that. But I have never made it explicit that that's not going to happen. Maria?
I don't think I ever showed you this, but the girls came home one day from preschool with a sheet that had like, it was basically like behaviors. I shoulds and I should nots. Like, I should raise my hand and not talk before I raise my hand.
Ah,
See, there was a bunch of them. It was like, I should stay in my seat. It was like all these things that I was like, and I've had a thing about public schools, ambivalences. And when I saw that, I was like, fuck, 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 fuck. But the whole theory about their preschool, their program is play-based discovery. So that drew me in about learning. But then I see this thing and I'm like, ah, shit. And I'm like, are they a program trying to come out of that stuff, but still have to do that stuff? And this way of like, the oppositeness is, I guess, like a learning like this, where we can
that's
like come and
correct.
sit in a group and just like talk about whatever
That's
and learn
correct.
amazing things, or have it so like structured in a way that you're wrong if you're not structured, which I don't know how that has to prevent learning if you have to be structured in a certain sense.
I think the difficulty here is that a school without any structure is too difficult to navigate, and a school with that kind of structure where the point is to make a uniform student or learner or whatever, that's a horror. And so a thing that we as a community in an increasing way have to address is that how do we walk the line between those two places? It's not a coincidence that today is the first day of all the groups I've taught in Emergence that there are three teachers, and there's a division, and the division isn't rigid, but it's still a division, breaking it up. But behind the scenes, there is so much indoctrination from early school about the bells, and that we should know the rules, and that we should follow the thing in an orderly path. I mean, Jeremy, the thing that you said that you were waiting for the thing to be at the hour tells how hard your early school experiences were. Horrible. Horrible.
I used to sit there and look at the clock and I couldn't wait for the bells to go off. And as soon as it got out, I was instinctually moving on to the next place.
And yes, here you are wanting to escape the bell saved by the bell. And yet, when there was no bell between Maria and Sam, something else happened to you. And this is really the pair of opposites. Like somewhere in between, there's I don't know, a happy medium, but somewhere in between, there's this range of adjustment, flexibility, where it's best for us to learn. What has hit me is that I don't have bells in my 3 hour seminars, and maybe that's a part of why people get lost.
Mm.
My reason for not having breaks is to generate the stress that enables a person to have the aha. If you're too comfortable, you don't hit bottom, you don't actually learn anything. You just kind of cruise through. It's comfortable, enjoyable, but you take away very little. So I learned that from doing groups in the rehab. Like, no, if people are uncomfortable, like the seats, I deliberately made the seating in the rehab uncomfortable because the more they squirmed, the more they couldn't escape what was going on in the room. So, but is my not having bells, to what degree is that impairing people's ability to learn? And I do not have an answer. This has just been hitting me.
Yeah, in the beginning when it felt to me like it was chaotic, because I didn't know how to kind of jump in.
Yes,
Um, yeah, I was in that situation. I couldn't grasp what we were doing.
exactly.
And then it seemed after that, it's been, yeah, it's been really cool to be in this space. Um, so yeah, it's fine. Like you said, it's like finding what is that happy medium, where people can speak freely, yet there's a sense of some kind of order.
So take the thing that you said about when you first got on, which is certainly natural the first time that you're sitting here, right? And what if I gave you a whole list of the rules? Or I gave you a paper before you came and said, this is the way we do it. No shit. Well, first of all, I'd throw up before I'd fucking do that to any human being. No. But second, Vern, please realize what I'm saying. That discomfort that you got at the beginning is a piece of why you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
And taking that away from you takes away your ability to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's too hard, if it's suddenly too abrupt, then the whole thing is ruined right from the start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that we as a group did pretty well with you this morning about letting you suffer, but also being warm and welcoming,
Mm-hmm.
and letting you learn on your own version of whatever is here,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
But I know I'm a ways away from understanding where that gray area is and how to navigate it. I'm going to come away today knowing more.
Mm.
I could say that. Jeremy, I'm very interested in your early school experiences because I would be willing to bet that you and I, because my first years I went to a parochial school, a Catholic school, and the nuns were vicious for the most part, and the rules were horrific. I mean, it was beyond bells. And, regularly and frequently, the Mother Superior would come in and pick a kid out randomly and beat him with a 18-inch piece of wood. The kid would have to hold their arm up, and the kid would be beaten for no reason. I can remember a young nun crying in front of the room when the Mother Superior came in and did that in second grade. So talk about bells. How safe or unsafe did you feel early in your school, Jeremy?
I mean, early on, I liked school. I'm trying to, it tipped at some point to where it became very uncomfortable. I think, I don't know, feels like a generic answer, but I got very bored with school very early on. And it was painful. It was painful. I mean, I don't know if a lot of the teaching was done in stories, and that's part of the reason because I also got really tired in school. I would put my head down. I was a guy putting his head down all the time, going to sleep. And I think it got tough for me because I didn't really have to try and I did okay in school. And then it got to a point where that really didn't work anymore. And that's when I really started suffering.
Hmm. So I'm going to guess that what you just said is related to the thing about you getting sleepy and tired and fading out. Um, and that I must remind you of whatever teachers that were like that, and Sam does not. And I'm not saying I'm the only one, or it's my fault, or it's your fault. I'm not. But I am curious about that thing, and you can clearly say this developed earlier in your, in early education.
No, I think you nailed it early. At least it feels very true to me. Um, with comparison between you and Sam, I still in my mind there's still a bit of a hierarchy between you and I.
A bit,
Not through
a
anything
bit,
you've done.
a bit.
I mean,
You're a, you're a
you've
cottage somewhere in the fields in Africa, and I'm
Mhm.
fucking that building in Abu Dhabi.
yeah. Well, you've chipped away at a lot of it. You've helped close the gap because you every time I've done anything like that, you just go right. You just name it and like stop that shit.
But I'm
Yeah.
battling this thing that you had. Okay, I'm going to guess because we're talking about early education and how it impairs our ability to learn emergence because the emergence is so different. There's nothing you can get by rote in emergence.
Mm,
Nobody can have your emergence for you. It's a very personal thing. There's no same path for anybody having an emergence. If we all have an emergence about mind body orientation, the chances that it's going to be from the same event are zero. Will we have an overlap about the pattern? Yes, because it's a fractal pattern, like seeing the candle lit versus it's not lit. But will it have come from the same moment or the same kind of teaching? No. So you have learned somehow in your life, Jeremy, an unnatural obedience to authority,
mm,
which makes my heart break every time I have seen it right from the beginning with you. Because I do not feel more than you as a person at all.
I know you don't.
I really, it kills me that you feel like that. But I'm not blaming you or me about this. I think it's just us and where we come from earlier in life, and sitting in the same space means that stuff comes to the surface. For one thing, this is a classroom, even though it is unconventional. Yeah. And I do think it is the authority thing. I think you're right, Jeremy. And I don't know how to get that to change because I know making myself small doesn't work for you. I know
No.
that. But you see that thing you just felt? See, that's the thing that I feel in reverse with you. You making yourself small around me makes me feel terrible. It's painful. If anybody does that, it bothers me. Even people I don't like, I don't want to do that. Athena?
Now I'm curious because all I have in my early education is a sense of confusion, nothing specific, but just this general feeling confused. And I wonder how that's affecting me now and my ability to learn.
Ah,
Because I all I have memories of this is this weird underlying feeling of confusion. I mean, I don't even the only teachers I remember are my kindergarten teachers. My first grade teacher, Mrs. Garrett, like Mrs. Boyle and Miss Lipke were my kindergarten teachers, and my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Urumchuk. And I have no other memories in between, except they were the only ones that are like little beacons of light for me.
so step back from the people and look for the patterns, because that's what emergence is rooted in, natural patterns. If we can see the pattern, then the pattern generalizes to all manner of things, including the present moment. I just asked myself, Jeremy, it's not even asking you. I had a similar thing in school where I was bored, and I interpreted it as I'm just dumb. I don't even belong in these classes because I was 2 years ahead, mostly. Um, but I'm wondering if school became so synonymous with being bored for you, and at the same time, you were so smart that you could manage to do fairly well without effort. I'm wondering if that pattern is still in you about learning emergence, where you think that you're going to be able to learn this without effort. And quite honestly, that one ain't happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening for me, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But I wonder if that pattern is a piece of what's in play here. Because you can pass in a regular setting. It's not passing for me. If you say something and you don't know it, I know you don't know it. Which isn't to say, oh, gee, you're going to get punished, but it doesn't pass.
Mm.
Because the school here isn't rote. It's not like you give the right words and you get an A on the test. There's no test. The only thing that you're doing is acquiring a bigger sense of yourself, the patterns of who you are, which is exactly what I'm talking about right now with you about the sleepiness with me. And I know that it has to go together with yes, sir, somehow. That's a gagger for me. I mean, that sir shit is up there with women being treated as less than men. That shit happens, like women getting 70% of the pay of men, makes me fucking crazy. Crazy, angry, wrong. But being called sir is pretty much up there in the
Mhm.
same way with me. No, don't do that. I am not more than you.
Well,
I
it's so
didn't.
interesting. I haven't been tempted to call you sir in a long time, but when you were in Asheville and I gave you a ride back to the place you were
Yeah,
staying,
I remember that. It
when
was,
I had the urge to refer to you as sir. You were sitting, I can still see you sitting right
and
beside
I
me.
can see where we were, and we went the wrong way because I got fucking distracted at the turn. We missed a turn because I'm so fucking bothered by you having an urge to call me sir. Almost drove into the golf course.
And some of that is cultural, Southern culture.
Well, some of it is social, which culture is a part of that, and
Yeah.
some of it is the worldview, right? All this, I'm an older person. There's so many things at play here, but really the thing that's solidly at play here is your early education, Jeremy. Many other things are there, I'm sure. I have had, authorities in my life say, if you don't call me sir, I'm gonna fucking punish you of some kind. Who the hell do you think you are? You think you're better than me, meaning I dare to think I'm equal. But what's important now is not just to focus on that, but to focus on the point. This interferes with your ability to learn emergence. That is the only thing we're talking about. And I could say in this moment, somewhat rooted in Sam bringing this up, um, that it interferes with my ability to teach you. So I have a fucking shitload of things that I know that will probably die with me. But in no way does that make me more of a person than any one of you. It does not. And the truth is, Jeremy, I more than ever this now know how much I can't see and will never learn to see. So what does that say about me? I'm hardly the all-knowing fucking old man. Anybody have thoughts about Jeremy's sleepiness or calling me sir or any of that?
I just know that sometimes I get really sorry, Sarah. I
No,
get
you're okay.
really um tired too, where I feel like I've been drugged.
Hmm.
And I've had times in my life where that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the strangest thing. It literally is like someone spiked me with something, a drug.
Mm-hmm. All right. We are at the last minute. So we are obviously not having any kind of finish line here with this one. This is a biggie. But the point is that those bells and the training and the indoctrination into being good little factory worker versions of students is in all of us. And in order for us to learn emergence, we at least have to see it as it happens. It's not all ever going away. And the last thing, which I didn't get a chance to go into and for another time, is um, I can't remember the Italian thing, but there's a saying about it's better to be on the road you know than the road you don't.
Mm,
Or in my family's way, it's better to be in the hell you know than the hell you don't.
mm,
And the bells are the hell you know.
Mm.
And when you take them away, it causes anxiety.
mm.
And school surely was hell for me. Absolutely. Anyway, Wow, what a good group this was. Beautiful. Vern, you're awesome. It's as if you've always been here. You know
Hmm.
that? That's what it feels like. It's like you just fit so well. It's
Hmm.
like you've always been here.
Hmm. Thank you.
Welcome, Vern.
No, well,
Thank you.
I was thinking that. I was like, yep, she was like a Jeremy. I was like, she's good. She'll like come right in.
You know, I'm just starting my path on becoming a therapist. With a little bit of luck, I'll start school in May.
Hmm.
And there's so much going on. A gratitude for Emergence, um, and just knowing myself and wondering how that will affect me, as how that will play out as me as a therapist.
Hmm.
But also, yeah, so there's so much here. And like Sarah was saying, like I have it all planned out. Like how do I get to North Carolina
Don't you?
to do my internship? I'm serious. There's two places that I'm actually thinking of moving to temporarily to learn what I can, whether it's for 6 months or whatever. And one of them is Hawaii at this
Oh.
residential center called Pacific Quest. And the other place is you.
Hmm.
And I'm just trying, I'm already thinking, like, how do I present this to my school? Or how do I do this,
How about you slow down?
Exactly. One step at a time,
One step at a time, one
which
bell at a
and I
time.
still remember that conversation way back when Sam was telling me about someone who had this ability to just that one step ahead, and that was you,
Hmm.
who had that ability to just
Mhm.
Make
have
shit
people
up.
see.
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes a good therapist, right? You don't come in with an agenda, you don't come in with a plan. You come in and see what unfolds, what comes up.
I guess you're going to find out.
Oh, that's what I have. That's what you told me, Steve. You don't come
I
in with a
know.
plan,
I
and
don't.
and every session is like mind blowing,
Hmm.
Yeah.
And Vern, it sounds like your sessions are mind blowing because you don't come in with a plan, right? Like it's
Sometimes,
always about the unfolding.
sometimes it's a
And
shit's
and I know Maria comes into our sponsor groups like with a structure of what she's going to do, but she never sticks to it.
I'm going to tell you as we get off, she never comes in with a structure. She comes in with a starting point.
I was gonna say
Ah,
I don't know where Athena got that from because I
well, it
literally am like
feels
I don't
like
know what
it.
we're doing right now, but I think maybe we could do this or that or
Yeah, Maria, it came from the bells. Anyway,
Starting point.
have a good day, all of you.
Bye,
Thank you
guys.
very
thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.